Good morning, mathematicians. Mrs. Becker here to teach you some math today. You are going to need to grab a few things for me. Would you please get a pencil and a dry erase marker? We are going to be working on pages 16 and 17 in your packet, so you will need your Unit 2 math packet. You will also want to have your math notebook and possibly a piece of scratch paper or your place value chart. Go ahead and get those things for me. All right, welcome back. Our learning target for today, let me just share that with you. We are going to be working with the area model for multiplication and successfully computing problems. We are also going to be estimating to make sure that our answers are reasonable. So know that there are a couple of things that we're going to be working on, and I know that you are going to do great at this. So open right now to page 16. Right, so we are going to be utilizing or just revisiting a couple of the interactive notebook pages. So you did do an interactive notebook page on area model last week. So if it's helpful to have that area model interactive notebook page out, go ahead and do that. Another page, if you have a multiplication chart in your interactive notebook, that is also going to be a helpful tool. If you don't have it glued in your interactive notebook, then you should have a nice copy of that multiplication chart that was on cardstock. So just know that utilizing those tools are going to be important for you today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at our page. We are focusing on the area model, and the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to draw a little line right down the side here. These numbers over here are the same, you'll notice, as the numbers that are written horizontally over here, except these are written vertically. We are going to be coming back and doing some of these same problems in a new and different way. So just draw yourself a little line off to the side. All right. The first thing that we are going to do is we are going to draw our area model. So I need a 2 by 2 box. So go ahead and make your box, and going horizontally, I need to have 2 bricks or 2 parts of that, and then I want to slice it in half this way. So I've got 2 going this way, and then I've got 2 going this way. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to break these 2 numbers up into their parts. So if I look at 48, I can say that 48 is equal to 40 plus 8. And then 35, if I break that up into its parts, tens and ones, that is equal to 30 plus 5. Now, the next thing that I need to do is I need to set up my box down here. And I'm going to start with the 48. The 40 goes right here, and then the 8 goes right there. And then on the top, I've got my 30 on this side, and then I've got my 5 over here. I'm going to go ahead and set up my little mini multiplication problems. So I'm just going to be focusing just on the top right here, and I'm actually going to physically write those numbers in. So this is 8 times 30, and then over here I've got 8 times 5. And then I'm going to put a little reminder to myself that I am adding these numbers across. So I just want to put that little reminder to myself that I'm adding going across. Then underneath, I'm just going to set that problem up as well. So here I'm multiplying 40 by 30. So 40 times 30, and then 40 times the 5. 40 times 5. And again, just a reminder to myself that I need to add these 2 answers up, and I'm adding across, and I'm going to put that answer over here. In the end, remember that we are going to add those 2 numbers together. So I am going to go ahead and do my estimate before I start. So off to the side here, I'm just going to put a little circle and put E for estimate. Last week we worked on rounding numbers and getting that estimate. So if I look at 48, 48 is really close to 50. So I'm just going to put my little estimate over here. And 35, I would round that up to be 40. And so if I get my estimated answer, 5 times 4, that would be 20. and then I'm going to mark those zeros at the end. So my estimated answer I should have in the end about 2,000. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and solve each of these little mini problems. We'll add them up and get a grand total at the end, and when we're done, we will compare our real answer with our estimated answer. So let's go ahead and begin. 8 times 3, if I'm not sure, I'm going to go ahead and use that multiplication chart. So 8 times 3, or 3 times 8, 24. So I will put that in, 24, but then I have 1 0 at the end of that, so 240. And then if I look at 8 times 5 or 5 times 8, again, if you know that by heart and it's automatic, great. If I don't, I'm going to go ahead and use my multiplication chart. 8 times 5, I follow it over, 40. Beautiful. So now I need to add these together. So some of you might be able to do that in your head. 240 plus 40 more, that's going to be 280. If you need to use your place value chart, you can go ahead and do that. So 240 plus another 40, 280. So however you want to show your work is a-okay. All right, now we're going to move down to our next little mini problem. I'm going to go right to the front end, and I'm going to multiply 4 times 3. You can use your chart if you need to. It's always a good idea if you're not 100% sure of that. So 4 times 3, booyah, that's a 12. So I will put that down. And then I need to mark 2 zeros at the end of that. So 1,200. Now I come over to this one, 4 times 5, that is 20, and then I need to add a 0 onto the end of it. So I have 1,200 plus another 200. So some of you might be able to do that in your head and get 1,400. If you need to set that problem up on your board here, you can go ahead and do that. 1,200 plus another 200. The biggest thing is to stay organized with however you're choosing to do your work. All right, so now I'm not done because I need to add these two numbers together. And for me, I like to have that bigger number on the top. And so if you would like to, over on the side over here, 1,400, and then I'm lining up 280 with that. You can also do this on your chart here if that's easier for you to line things up. So then I'm going to go ahead and add 0, an 8, a 6, and a 1. And then I'm going to compare that number with the number that is my actual answer. And is that answer reasonable? So hopefully when you look at those problems, you can see that that is a reasonable answer. All right, we're going to move on and look at the next problem. So looking at the next problem, I have 3 digits here, and then I have 2 digits on the other side. So I need to make my box, but instead of only being 2 going horizontally, I need to have 3. So when I draw my boxes, I like to look at splitting it by that first number. So to make thirds, I make 2 little marks, and I should have 1, 2, 3 going this way, and then here I'm going to split it in half to have 2. So I've got 3 by 2. Then I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to split this into its individual place value parts. So 648, you can go ahead and split that. What is the 6 worth? 600 plus the 4, that's 40, and then the 8. And then the 35, I'm going to split that up. 3 tenths would be 30 plus 5. Once you get the hang of this method, it is kind of fun. All right, so now I'm going to go and put these individual little parts in each of my starts of my boxes. So the 600, I'll put down here, and then you can go ahead and put the 40 and the 8. And then now at the top, I have the 30, and then the 5. Now I'd like you to pause the video, and I would like you to get each of these little mini problems set up. So we'll do the first one together, and then I'll have you pause the video and you'll do the last two on your own. So remember, this means 8 times the 30. This one is 8 times 5. So pause the video, and I would like you to get the 40 times 30 and the 40 times 5, and the same with the 600 down at the bottom. So set those little mini problems up right now. All right, and we're going to go ahead and carry out our answers to these in just a moment. Before we even start though, let's take a peek at what our estimate would be. If I go up to this 6 for 600, 648, nearest 100 would be 600. And then for this one, 35, that's really close to 40. It's kind of right in that middle where I would need to round up. I'm going to go right to the front end of this and multiply 6 times 4. If you're not sure, use your chart. So when I look at my chart and I follow that down, 6 times 4 is 24. And then I'm going to mark those 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3 behind it. So I know my answer needs to be around 24,000. That's really big, and I'm going to need to make sure that I'm lining my numbers up when I'm adding both these little mini problems as well as my big problem at the end. So here's your next task. I would like you, we'll do the first one together, and then you're going to do the last ones, and then we'll meet again to do the final adding. So let's do the first one right here. I'm going to go 8 times 3, and 8 times 3, use that chart. When I multiply 8 times 3 using that chart, I get a 24, but I need to have 1 0 at the end of it, so 240. Then I'm going to look at my chart, 8 times 5. Go ahead and figure that out, or counting by 5 8 times. And you should have a 40 for that one. So if you can do that adding in your head, go ahead and do that. If you can't, then go ahead and put that 240 plus 40 more over here. Either way that you do it, you're going to write your answer over here. So now your next task, you're going to go right to the front of each of these, get your answer and tag those zeros onto the end, and then however you are choosing to add, you're going to add those up and get these 3 little mini answers together. So pause the video and we'll check those answers before we add in the end. All right, when you got these little mini answers, hopefully you got 1,200 for 40 times 30, and then 200, you add them together. Hopefully you got 1,400. For this one right here, 600 times 30, that's 18,000, and 600 times 5, that's 3,000. Now I'm not done. I need to line all of these up and then add them and then compare to my final decimal. So when I am doing these problems, and this is just how my math brain works, I like the big thousands numbers or 10,000s numbers to be on the top. So I would like you right now, you can either set it up on your scratch paper here or set it up on your place value chart, and then you are going to set those up and add them. It is very important that you have all of your decimal or all of your place value places lined up, because if you do this hard work and things are not nice and neat and lined up, your answer will be wrong. So I am going to go ahead and use my chart. Go ahead and put these on your chart and then add them up, and then we'll check our answer in a moment. With your numbers lined up, hopefully you got 22,680. Hopefully that looks right to you. I'm going to go ahead and transfer that over to my paper. I'm going to put my plus symbol, and just to show my work so that my teachers can clearly see that, I am just going to go ahead and line these up off to the side and making sure that ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands are all lined up. My end answer, 22,680, and then I'm going to compare that to my estimated answer, and yes indeed, it does seem like a reasonable answer. Nice job on that 3 by 2 multiplication. Turn to the next page, please. For letter A, and we can go ahead and utilize this whole workspace. We're not going to be using these. Although this says exit, ticket, and quiz, you can cross that out. These are just going to be some practice problems for us. So let's look at this one, and I need to draw my box first of all, and I know that my box needs to be a 2 by 2. So I'm going to draw my nice neat box, and I'm going to set up my horizontal box first off, my boxes. So I've got 2 boxes going this way, and now I need my 2 boxes going that way. I'm going to look up at these 2 numbers, and then I'm going to set up my problem where I'm breaking these numbers apart. So 20 is equal to 20 plus 1, and then 23 is 20 plus 3. Now remember, you're going to set your boxes up, and then you're also going to make those little multiplication little sentences, and then I would like you to do this right now, and then we'll check the setup of your problem in just a moment. So get the numbers in the right spot, and then set up your little mini multiplication problems, and then we'll check that in just a moment. All right, friends, take a look at how you set your paper up. Hopefully your little mini multiplication sentences match mine. I did add some circles, and I'm just going to put that nice dark plus symbol right in the middle, or addition symbol, and a little reminder that I'm adding going across. Now, I would like you to look at these 2 numbers, and I want you to estimate what your answer would be. The second thing that I'm going to have you do, you're going to get answers to these little mini problems. And then you are going to actually, final step would be to add. So I would like you to fully complete this problem, and we'll check it in just a moment. Use your multiplication chart if you're not sure of what answers are. All right, double check your work, please. When you set up your little multiplication problems and then you got your answers, when you multiplied and then added going across, you should have ended up with a 23. For these, when you multiplied and then added going across, you should have a 460. Our estimated answer, let's talk about that at the very end. So then I have lots of workspace here. I just went ahead and set up my problem. Again, for my math brain, I like to have that bigger number on the top just so I can make sure that everything is lined up nice and neat. If you're using that place value chart, that's even better, and that's okay as well. So when you add going this way, you should have a 483. Now we're going to check and see if that's reasonable. When I come back up to my original numbers that I'm multiplying, I'm going to round 21 to 20 and 23 to 20. And when I multiply that, 2 times 2, that's 4 with 2 zeros. So yes, indeed, my answer does check. All right, the last problem is a 3 by 2. Let's go ahead and get our box set up for that. So draw that nice big box. And then I want to make sure that I have 3 horizontal parts of my box going this way. And then I want to make sure I have 2 going this way. And then remember that you're going to be breaking this number up. So 100 plus 40 plus 3. And then break the 12 up to 10 plus 2. Okay, now I would like you to get this problem set up just like you did for this one. Get all the numbers in their right places, and then we'll check in just a moment. All right, just double checking. 143, and then my 10 and my 2. Your next job, remember, you are going to take each of these and set up your little mini multiplication problem. 3 times 10 and 3 times 2. Okay, down here you'd have 40 times 10 and 40 times 2. Go ahead and finish setting up your little mini problems, and then I'd like you to solve each of them. We'll check in just a moment. Remember to use your multiplication chart if you're not sure. All right, when you did your multiplying, you set everything up. Let's just double check what our next step would be then. So 3 times 10, that's 30, and 2 times 3, I've got my 6. 40 times 10, 4 times 1 is 4 with my 2 zeros, that's a 400. 4 times 2 is 8 with 1 0, 80. 100 times 10, 1 times 1 is 1 with 3 zeros after it, 1,000. 100 times 2 would be 1 times 2 is 2 with those 2 zeros tagged on, 200. Remember that your next step is going to be to add going across. So go ahead and add these going across, putting your little mini answers for each place value section inside that little circle. And then when you're done with that, you're going to line them up and add them. So go ahead and add these little mini problems up and get a total, and then add the whole thing. And then we will do our estimate and check at the very end. All right, friends, when you add it across, you should have had a 36, a 480, and a 1,200. When you are putting those big numbers together, you need to make sure that you're using that place value chart to line everything up, or being super careful and nice and neat on your scratch paper or parts of the paper over here. So when you added 1,200, 480, and 36 together, 1,716 should have been our answer. Now, we're not done. You can estimate at the very beginning or you can estimate at the end, but it's important that you estimate. So let's look. I've got 143. I'm going to round that to 100, and 12 is close to 10. When I multiply 100 times 10, I'm going to get 1,000. So my answer should be in the thousands, and yes, that is accurate. Now, if you are up for an extra challenge, this is a 3 by 3. We haven't done a 3 by 3, but it's going to be the same process. So instead of having 2 of these digits on the top, you're going to have a third one. So if you think, ooh, I've had enough, you can go ahead and take a picture of your work and finish the seesaw lesson. If you want to hang around and take a peek at the extra bonus one, then you can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to talk about the bonus one right now. So if you're done, you can head out. If you want to stay, then let's go ahead and get our problem set up. So for the 246 and the 182, I'm going to want a 3 by 3 box. And again, this is optional. I'm going to make my box nice and big. So in order to make thirds, I make 2 little marks going this way. So now I've got my 1, 2, 3. And now I need to do the same going this way. So I'm going to make 2 little marks. And I'm going to go vertical. Okay, now, since you guys are doing the challenge one, I'm assuming that you have a really good grasp on how this is going to go. You're going to break these two numbers apart. 200 plus 40 plus 6, and then you're going to set up your little grid, do the multiplying, add going across, add all of them together, estimate, and check. So I will put my final answer up. You can check this in a minute with me. Good luck, but you don't need luck because you got skill. Give it a go. Okay, friends, I would like you to pause the video and compare your work with my work. Here is the final answer. Here is the estimate. And if you got that right or parts of it right or tried it, I'm so proud of you. Great job today, everybody. Finish your seesaw lesson, pause the video, and check your work. See you next time.